So, the question for today's video is, what makes the Porsche 911 Turbo and Turbo S the ultimate daily supercar? What makes it the ultimate 911? What makes it daily usable? And what keeps it as a supercar? And best of all, I'll get to drive it later in the video. Greg, it's a supercar. What makes it a supercar?
It's got to look good. It's got to be sexy. And turbos introduced in the 70s have always been the same. Wide body with those lovely rear hips, big spoilers, sexy wheel designs, and notably on the Turbo S and turbos, you've got the big arch intakes. So cosmetically, when you walk up to the car, it grabs your attention. It looks like it's going fast when it's standing still.
The Turbo was always the fastest 911 and it's got to look like it, hasn't it? What other styling cues are there from the exterior?
So on all of the Turbo S's we've got adjustable rear and front wings, which is quite interesting. So the rear wing actually has 3 different positions, down, up, and then it has a slight angle to it when you're going really fast. Also on the front end we have a deployable front splitter, which makes the downforce on the front end better as well. And then physically, if you're following one of these things, you can see how wide the rear tyres are rammed in those rear arches.
And of course exhaust pipes are important. The Turbo has not 1, not 2, but 4.
It can't be a Turbo or Turbo S without some big pipes, loud and fast.
And this is a facelift model we have in front of us here.
This particular example is a 2016 onwards, so yeah, slightly different design cues where we've got what we call the 3D rear lights on the back of them, sharper front end design, and also we've got some interior differences as well where they've sharpened up the satellite navigation, which we'll come to in a second.
Now, if it's going to be the ultimate supercar, we're talking big numbers. Give me some big numbers with the Turbo S.
Ready? Right. We got a flat 6-cylinder engine. We got 2 turbos, which is a twin turbo, 580 horsepower, 750 newton meters of torque, integrated dry sump lubrication, so you can go around corners and go in a straight line fast. The car will do 205, I reckon a little bit more. She'll do 60 in 3, and more interestingly, she'll do a ton in mid-6s. Pretty quick.
That's fast. Not wallet friendly, these cars to buy, but they did come with a big standard spec, but there was still more that you could buy.
Yeah, back in 2016 when a GT3 was about 108 grand, these were 145,000 for a coupe and 154,000 for the cabriolet, so big numbers comparatively.
But coming with standard spec of?
Everything. You had 18-way adjustable sports seats. I don't know 18 ways to adjust a seat, but there we go. Memory function, LED lights, reverse camera, cruise control, everything leather dashboard, which isn't standard, as you know, on a 911. Nav with Apple CarPlay, PDK gearbox, paddle steering wheel, everything you could really want.
Ceramics?
Ceramics on the Turbo S as well. And we saw some of these when they were new at £175,000. 30 grand's worth of options. It doesn't go very far when you start going personal. Bespoke colour, bespoke leather, everything trimmed in leather, Burmeister stereos. So yeah, big lumpy cars, but deserved it.
Ultimate. Yes, I can really see myself in one of these when my childish track day pursuits are over. This really is in the lap of 911 luxury.
It is. 2 points on that. You're never going to grow up. And do I still have to sit here?
Definitely, I'm always the driver.
But you're right, these seats, you know, you could genuinely drive down to the south of France and back probably in this and not get out uncomfortable.
And there's a lot of tech spec in here, you know, heated steering wheel, high-end stereo. That's not your normal 911 fitment, is it?
No, and it doesn't hamper the performance of the car, and you've equally got things like reversing camera, like leather options everywhere, leather steering column casing. Yeah, it's everything you'd need to do to spend hours in it and have fun.
Right, well, I'm going to have fun now, so you get out and I'll take it for a drive. So here's the fun bit, the driving bit. And what makes this really the ultimate daily 911? Well, for most of us, a Porsche Turbo or a Turbo S growing up was, in many ways, the ultimate 911. The most powerful, 580 horsepower in this form. but yet daily usable. How could that possibly be? Well, I wish everybody could sit in this position, this seat that I'm in right now, and just feel it once in their life, because it's unlike every other 911. The key element that enables you to change the characteristics of the car is the Sport Chrono. That's operated by means of the rotary dial on the steering wheel, and in normal mode the car is perfectly comfortable, usable. There's no sudden reactions to throttle or steering or PDK gear changes. The car's really instantly jump in and use. The old expression, your granny could drive it, is actually true when you leave it in the normal mode. Put it into sport and it just notches up the reaction for steering, throttle, PDK. Notch it up a ramp more into Sport Plus and you've almost turned this into a full-blown GT car. It's much more responsive, completely changing the character of the car and really making it come alive, but still always retaining that usability. The final configuration is the individual configuration, and here in the menu you can set all of those parameters I mentioned to your own personal desires. So that gives this car a multitude of characters, but always retaining that comfortable, usable feel that make it such a great everyday car. So there's no manual option on a Turbo or a Turbo S, and that's a good thing because the car is built to be comfortable and usable, and the PDK box is absolutely bulletproof. Despite all the horsepower and torque going through it, they prove to be 100% reliable. If you want to change the gears manually using the paddles, you can, and it's the best gear change you'll get. But in the automatic mode, it works perfectly with the road speed, matching road speed to revs perfectly. There's no delay on the down changes, you're not waiting. It works absolutely perfectly, and it's a gearbox I really love. The familiar interior on this 991.2 Turbo S, so analog dials, in this case they're white, both the rev counter speedo and the chrono in white, which I like. Touchscreen PCM with your nav, your phone, everything else on there. Almost all turbos and Turbo S's were spec'd very highly by their original owners. This one's no exception. Cruise, all the toys, leather. It's a really nice environment. With the rear wheel steering fitted to the Turbo and Turbo S, you've got that greater security at high speed turning into corners, where the rear wheels will steer with the steering, the front wheels, to give you added stability. That kicks in over 50 miles an hour. But contrary to that, at slow speed, when you're manoeuvring, going on roundabouts or in slow corners, the rear wheels will turn in the opposite direction to the steering to effectively increase your turning circle. It's a system that is barely perceptible behind the wheel, but works really well. So a tight corner coming up, I'm just going to see how reactive the car is to the rear wheel steer. To tight corner, I need quite a lot of lock, and I can feel the rear turning the front ever so slightly. On a car capable of 200 miles an hour, you want the best brakes fitted to it. So I would always go for the PCCB ceramic brakes. They stop the car on a sixpence. They are absolutely no problem in normal road driving use. There's no noise, there's no having to heat them up like Formula One brakes. They work from the off, from cold, and they work really well. With extended leather, plush leather seats, heated steering wheel, heated seats, this is a very comfortable environment to be. It's 4 degrees on a cold December day, and I'm perfectly comfortable. And I'm also comfortable deploying that 580 horsepower with permanent four-wheel drive. I have no hesitation in putting the power down. The car is really quite remarkable in that it's an all-seasons car. You can use it in all weathers. Turbocharging really comes into its own in a car like this, where you've that easy torque, that plentiful power, but such easy accessibility. A gentle squeeze on the throttle is generally enough to whisk you down the road at speeds that will likely lose your license or at least get you some points. It's such easy torque. Of course, when you're in a performance mode, you've also got the overboost button in the middle of the Sport Chrono button that will give you 20 odd seconds of extra boost should you ever need it. So Porsche will quote you an incredible 0 to 62 mile an hour time of just under 3 seconds. But road tests have often shown that figure to be actually quite conservative, and a figure nearer 2.5 seconds is actually achievable. What I wouldn't be doing though is doing it using launch control, because although road testers and car reviewers love to use that launch control, it's not their own car, is it? It's the fleet car, the press car that is owned by the manufacturer. If it were my own car, I would never be doing it. I just can't bring myself to engage that level of mechanical, unsympathetic driving. It's such a strain on the car, and although the car's built to do it, I wouldn't be doing it to my own car. In terms of performance, well, let's see. There is nothing that gets up and goes quite so efficiently and easily as a turbo or a Turbo S. The way it picks up speed is both shocking and comfortable in equal measure. It's an incredible car. One great feature about this cabriolet is you can actually put the roof down at anything up to 30 miles an hour. So say you're in town and you think you're looking good and you want to take in some fresh air, you can literally, with the press of one button, put the whole roof down. Goes all the way down, and you can then raise the air curtain to keep yourself nice and cool and warm if it's cold. And there you are, top down motoring. So if a hardcore track day car is not really a thing, but you want a fast, comfortable Porsche you can use every day of the year, this really is the bill. Nothing comes close to a 911 Turbo or a Turbo S for all-round usability, performance and comfort. And that's it in a nutshell. It's what it was always meant to do, and it still does fantastically. I hope you've enjoyed the video. There'll be another one coming out soon, so keep watching.